take it personal, but I ain't lying, I ain't hiding, I've been grinding, multiplying, I've been trying to get my weight up.
Guys, what's up?
What's up, y'all?
This is Jacksworldsoulties. Alright, Jacksworld, we have a very interesting topic to discuss today. We're going to actually discuss what works for some may not work for others. I know it seems like a very simple statement, but it's very complex in its origin, because a lot of times we find that when it comes to relationships, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to supervising on a job, when it comes to any type of leadership position, or anytime you're dealing with other people, period, we found out that what works for one person or one group may not necessarily work for another. So in when it comes to wisdom, when you're counseling, when you're giving advice, you have to understand that, especially when it comes to marriages and when it comes to relationships. Because a lot of times we'll take information from other people and try to apply it to our situations, you know, no matter what the situation is, and it may not fit. And then we'll think something is wrong with us per se. So what we're going to do is just bring up some different scenarios that we found out that may not work necessarily for everybody.
He said, I'll push it.
Alright, so let's go a little deeper with this subject. What works for one does not necessarily work for everybody. So I have noticed that a lot of times people want, you know, us to counsel or give advice in different situations when it comes to relationships or marriage. Be advised that we are still learning. We do not know everything. Alright, so we're not trying to be you guys as idols, or we're not trying to be, the know-it-all, or, when it comes to relationships.
But keep the messages coming. Keep all the messages coming. We try to answer it the best way we can.
Right.
Right.
But with that being said, please be advised. Be careful where you get your information from. Be careful where you get your wisdom from, or your per se knowledge when it comes to relationships, because what goes on in your relationships or your experiences and in other people's houses may not work for you. Just because it works for us doesn't mean it'll work for you, and vice versa. Alright, so I've learned, in a lot of situations, there's some things that people have the personality traits for that other people may not. Okay, so when you're telling your story, when you're telling or you asking for advice when it comes to your relationship, it is wise, first of all, not to be one-sided. It's kind of wise to have your mate with you, because both of you are going to have totally different stories. It's going to be the same situation, but the stories are going to be totally different, because each person is going to tell it from their perspective. Okay, and a lot of times your perspective is built on your hurts, your pains, your goods, your bads, your shortcomings, your intellect, your emotions, your wisdom, and all these other different entities. So you're gonna see things differently. Okay, and because of that, if you get wisdom from someone about your situation and they only know one side of it, they're gonna give you partial wisdom. Okay, that's one. For two, they're going to give you wisdom from their experience. They're going to speak a lot of times, maybe 85% of the times, from their experience. Okay. Sometimes they're going to speak biblically. They're going to speak from something they may have heard from their grandparents, or somebody that has made it and been married 60 years plus, or what have you. But 85% of that is going to come from their experience. Okay. And their experience may not fit yours. So, for instance, I think I had a situation where a young lady came to me and she didn't know how to heal from someone cheating on her. Okay, my way of healing, is should I go ahead and tell it, babe? Okay, so I use a lot of different wisdoms when it comes to healing. For one, of course, prayer. You know, that's my go-to. Other than that, I use mind over matter. Okay, that doesn't work for everybody. You know, because I've tried to teach that same wisdom to someone else, and they're saying to me, I just can't. I can't control my thoughts. I can't control my mind. I can't stop thinking about this person. I can't, you know, forget what they did and blase blase. You know, and my rationale, because of my experiences, you can. You can forget whatever you want to forget. A memory can be put in your subconscious. But, long story short, what works for me is one thing. What worked for them was something totally different. They were not able to handle, you know, that principle, mind over matter, or they wasn't able to, or wasn't ready, you know, to use that particular principle. So my wisdom didn't work in that situation. That makes sense, babe? You know, so that's what I mean when I say what works for one may not work for somebody else. You know, and then you got some people that have relationships that are, I guess, what we call parenthetically open. You know, that's kind of the new trend now. I've seen this a lot on social media where people are allowing outsiders in their relationships. You know, like they're allowing their mates to have cheat days. Is that, I'm going to be politically correct, not
you know.
You know, you can go in one Friday out of the week. Be quiet. One Friday out of the week. You know, you can go do whatever you want. I ain't asking no questions, blah. That may not work for everybody.
No phone, I ain't gonna text, I ain't gonna do nothing.
Right. Right. That may work for some people. And that may work in that season.
Yeah.
And may not work in another. You know what I'm saying? So. I don't start. Babe, we on camera. Okay. Go ahead, since you want to tell it all.
Yeah.
No. Since she wants to tell everything, go ahead and tell it, man. Tell me what you're talking about. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay, so what she's talking about is when we first met, we were both super younger, for one. For two, we were still kind of, I guess you want to say wild. I don't know, wild is not a good word. Sowing our royal oats. That's all right? Okay. But we were still kind of trying to find ourselves. So, in the midst of that, we tried to dilute pain or the jealousy or the fighting and the, you know, backbiting, you know, by allowing, or I was per se, trying to allow her to have a cheat day. And what that cheat day consists of, anything she wanted to do and I didn't know. I didn't want to be aware of it. Like it may be one cheat day out of a month where she could just go and cut her phone off, or I wouldn't call at all, you know, and I wouldn't ask any questions, and things would just, you know, roll, you know, like they did.
But I think that was like some kind of reverse psychology, because she gave me that pass, but I didn't use it. Does that make sense? Oh, okay. Oh, you sipping tea now.
Did you not use it? How did you? Okay, so
it wasn't exciting no more.
That's a good take on that. So it didn't work.
What you mean?
Did it work? Like, how did you feel allowing me allowing you, or not necessarily allow, because we're grown, we do what you want, but me giving you that avenue to say, you know, you go do whatever you want. How did that make you feel?
I don't know how to put it into words, but I can say it's like a kid, right? You take a kid to the store and you take them on the toy aisle, and you say you can have whatever toy you want, you can get whatever you want, just fill the basket up. But you see so many toys that you're so excited, and you be like, oh, I want this looks good, I can put this right here, be right here, and at the end of the day, after you exhaust your energy on being excited about what you're going to do with this, how you're going to do this, everything just goes out the window.
How did you feel? That makes a lot of sense. That makes sense. That's a good metaphor.
it's like you be excited, but at the end of the day,
was it really worth it?
it's not worth it.
Right.
I wouldn't say it wasn't worth it. It wasn't exciting.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Okay. Because you expended a lot of energy out doing it.
Yeah, thinking about, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
And then like, I don't need that.
It's not that serious.
I don't want to do that.
Wow. So how did you feel though on a personal level, like emotionally? Because everybody thinks different. So like for me, if you were to tell me you can go and see whoever you want, blah blah, and do whatever you want to do, I would equate that in my emotional space as you're not loving me. You see what I'm saying? Like I think that would rub my emotions on my way. So did that emotionally disturb you some type of way? Like, did it make you feel like, well, she can't love me, or she can't really care nothing about what we got, or she ain't serious?
She ain't serious. She don't care. I mean, that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a reverse effect.
Yeah.
More harm than it is good, depending on the relationship.
Yeah, just like the relationship,
Because it works for some people, apparently, because this is the new thing.
Yeah, it works.
And I don't, to each his own. We're not judging anybody. Whatever fits you, floats your boat. But what I have noticed about life, and I've tried a lot of things, and what I've noticed about bringing outsiders in, once that door opens, it's kind of hard to shut it. And I don't mean individually. You can't shut it with that one person, but once you start anything, if you give me collard greens and they taste good, I think it's pretty much I'm going to ask for some more. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm able to shut down that saliva gland or that desire to want, that particular whatever it is that was good to me for that moment, just because I'm supposed to be committed to a relationship. So what I think is, personally, that if you open that door, then it's a great possibility that you won't be able to shut it. That this is something that will be a continuum. That you will be, married to this person if, the marriage works. Because when you start bringing people in, you asking for trouble.
But that's for different people. Some people not like that.
Yeah. Explain.
I mean, back in my day, like younger me, I had no strings attached, no emotions attached.
Well, you talking about individualized. I'm talking. Okay, so when I'm talking about the door opening, not individual, not saying you want that same person, but that appetite is there now. To want to do that again. Like let me have 2 Fridays now since you giving me this one. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if you will shut that appetite down to want to, go out and experience something outside of what you have. You might not necessarily want that same chick or that same experience. And it doesn't have to be another person. That one day could be something that's far-fetched, like splurging, spending money, clubbing, getting drunk. It could be anything outside of what you do in the norm. But what I'm saying is, once you start feeding anything, it's going to live. Yeah. Anything you don't feed dies. So when you put a practice to something, you get good at it, and you become it. So, just like, when you put a practice to trying to be a monogamist or trying to be in a relationship where there's solely you and I, or you're being committed or loyal to one individual, if you practice that over a period of time, it can become who you are. And vice versa. If you don't practice that, what I'm saying, you're feeding something that you don't necessarily want to grow when you 45 and 50. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if there's wisdom in inviting these different things in instead of you trying to buff at your flesh.
Well, that was a good point. That's a good point. Where in a relationship, like what you do, you make sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
But like from your previous mate, just say from your previous mate, you let your mate go out on Fridays.
Okay.
And do whatever they want to do. Get a pass.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But you know that it made you feel some kind of way.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But that relationship didn't last. So now you're in a new relationship, trying to bring that old baggage in. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But if you didn't like the way it feels, that's why you lay your rules down with your new relationship.
Yes.
Don't say, oh, well, I let my last somebody do this. Let me see if it'll work with them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly. And to just piggyback off what you just said, because that was good. What I don't think people understand a lot of times is you're no better than your last relationship. Okay. And I know that sounds weird and hard to digest, but whatever you was in the last relationship, if you didn't heal from that, or if you didn't grow, because everything doesn't require healing. Some people didn't get hurt. Some people just move. But if you didn't grow or you didn't heal, and even if you did, you're still bringing some of the residue from what you experienced prior. And it could be good, and it could be bad, into your new relationship. So what you have to figure out is if it worked. And I don't mean if it worked meaning y'all had an expansion of time. Because I've seen people be in each other's space and still not be together. Still have titles and still not be together. Still say, that's my husband, that's my wife, that's my boo, that's my girlfriend, that's my boyfriend, and still not be together. Because a lot of times people leave before they leave. Okay, so I've seen people be together in a space, but not be together in a necessarily like a time, or be together committedly, you know what I'm saying, in attempting to make something work. So what you have to ask yourself is, when you bringing that stuff in, will it fit this individual? Will it fit this situation? Did it even work in my prior? Because it could have been the problem.
I love you.
Yeah.
My wife is so wise and full of knowledge, y'all. I just got to pray for this quick second.
I think so. You don't think?
Yeah.
It could have been some of the problem. Right. Maybe the person really needed you to put your foot down.
Maybe.
Maybe they was looking for that and you gave them opposite of it. And because of that, you fed, a appetite that they had to be whorish or whatever it is that they needed to be. Because all of us need some kind of order.
Right.
All of us need to be susceptible to some type of order. But and a lot of times you do.
You need order.
You need order. You need structure.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we don't like, especially as my wife hates when I say this, because I love my people and I always gripe on some of our shortcomings, and I don't mean it like there's not another group of people that don't have the same. When I say what I'm about to say, I'm just speaking statistically. But a lot of times we as African American people, we don't know how to be susceptible to rules and order. We kick against the prick. And the reason why we do that is because we were so enslaved so long. That's not an excuse. But the mindset has not been broken. So now we're saying, you don't mess around and set us free. Yeah. We free indeed, and you ain't about to put no, shackles on me. And we are refusing a lot of time to accept order, laws, principles, regulations, and things that will benefit us, because we're still trying to fight that mentality with the wrong concept. Just because we're not slaves anymore doesn't mean that we should not have some order in place when it comes to certain things. So I know I don't got on a tantrum, but
that's good.
The point is, maybe you need to figure out if that worked and be honest. A lot of times I don't think we honest with ourselves either.
Well, even if it worked, how did it make you feel? That should be the question in your head. Like, when I allowed this person to do this, how did it make me feel?
That's good. For real, for real.
Yeah, for real.
Like, no flex. Like, if you don't do nothing, ask yourself this question. Be real with you. You know, you just said something you gotta be real with on Facebook, or you gotta be real with your mama, or be real with you.
How did it make me feel?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, as you go into a new relationship, a new season, don't bring what made you feel uncomfortable. Or don't bring into that situation that...
Come on, babe. I'm sorry. Okay, babe.
Yeah, like I was saying, just don't bring that negativity or whatever kind of energy to your new relationship, because this is the time when you're in a new season, a new relationship. This is the time to lay down the foundation, the rules. Like, I don't like this. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to put up with this. You're going to come home at a certain time. You know, you're going to do this. You're going to pick up. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. So if you set those standards in the beginning,
I agree.
You know?
I agree. Totally agree. Because if you don't, you're just going to have a cycle.
Yeah.
And we went through a cycle for years. So we not just talking to be, we know what that feels like, you know. And to answer her question, you do have to ask yourself, what did it feel like? Were you really honestly happy with it? You know what I'm saying? You know, unless you were feeding some in yourself too. You know, because a lot of times we have our own beasts. Let's deal with that. Like, for instance, they don't get upset, okay? While I was giving her freebie, you know, was I taking my own? You know, was I feeding a beast within me too? Because a lot of times when you allow certain things in your relationship, when it's too open, is a reason. You know, why is it that open?
Yeah.
You know,
that's where you get to the question is,
the core.
Do she really love me, or what is she doing? Why she let me go out doing this?
Right.
You know?
Because it could be some insecurity there.
Yeah.
Or it could be some boredom there on your part. You know, it could be either or. You know, so a lot of times what we don't do is get to the root of any situation. We deal with surface everything. You know, because a lot of times we don't want a person to get down to the core, and the core is what matters. Because you don't want a person to dig that out because it makes you vulnerable. But that's what you have to get to in order to figure out what will work for you. Because I can tell you all day, don't do this, don't do that, do this, and don't do that, and don't do that, and then it not work for you because you never dealt with yourself, your personal rooted issues. You know, which will influence and affect your relationship. You know, so I think that's very good. I'm just kind of mind boggled, you know, at some of the stuff that I see, and it's okay. You know, it's not I'm not criticizing, but I'm curious about how does that work in your heart for real? Like, how does that really feel to you? I can't, in the space that I'm in now, and the love that I have for my wife now, compared to what I had then, and I had love then, and you couldn't have told me then, if you would have asked me then how much I loved her, I would think it would be equal to this point, and it can't be, for the simple fact that I can't see myself saying, it's okay, just go, and you know, just don't tell me what you did, you know, and then I lay in the bed and then can roll over and be good with you, knowing that there is a possibility that I gave you the right of passage to make an error that could possibly, you know, cause friction between you and I. You know, because if you like Hennessy and mess around and taste a rock, your flavors, your taste, everything changes. You know, so I don't know if a person would be comfortable enough, you know, to be free. or arrogant. You know, because sometimes, you know, people are arrogant enough to think, oh, she ain't nobody better than me. She ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody gonna do this like me. You know, ain't nobody gonna pay no bills like me. Ain't nobody gonna say this like I say this. You know, please don't let arrogance fool you. You know, because anything can be replaced. You know. And so, baby,
this concludes the video. So what works for others may not work for you.
That's right.
That's in your finances, jobs, relationships,
yep,
family ships, any kind of ship. What works for one person
absolutely
may not work for you.
That's it. Alright.
Anything else?
Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share. Make sure that you guys are following us on all social media platforms, because we are available to you. We love you, and this is Jacksworldsoulties. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.